Hi! So today I'm talking about the origin of phrases. Strange phrases. Things that you don't normally hear, and then you hear or you say them and you're like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Why did I just call him Josh? Quit joshing around, Tim. What? So, one time I just started looking up random phrases and I was like, hey, these are really funny because they just, like, who would have thought of that? But then somebody did 100 years ago or more. So that's what I'm doing. The first one is, lo and behold. Aha! Lo and behold started with the word lo, which is just L-O, not L-O-W, and behold, which lo was a shortening for look. So it's like, look, behold, something shiny. That is what it started as. It first came around in the beginning of the first millennium, and it was made sort of popular by the epic poem Beowulf, which actually is one of my really favorite things I learned in British literature. So thank you, Brits. 3 sheets to the wind. 3! It actually is a sailor term, as you might have guessed, but it is not the sails that has anything to do with. It is actually the ropes, or as they're called, lines, or sometimes chain, as the one specifically that connects to the bottom corner of the sail. And because they have pulley systems, there would be 3. So if you're 3 sheets to the wind, what that means is that the ropes are loose, and so when that happens, the sail gets flappy, and it moans and makes the boat moan and creak like an old drunken sailor. And that's where it comes from. So, what would you do with a drunken sailor? What would you do with a drunken sailor? Well, actually, in this case, you would just tighten the sheets. That's what you do. Gar. So, the next word is rule of thumb. This one actually comes from a myth, not a fact. And I think it's funny, a little bit, only because it didn't actually happen. There was supposedly a judge in England that made a law that a man could beat his wife with a stick so long as it was no thicker than his thumb. It would really suck to be the wife of a really big guy with big thumbs. Maybe a dwarf? I don't know. I suppose they have sort of bigger enough. Anyway, I'm probably going to cut that out because that's... The funny thing is, that actually, there's no evidence of that ever happening. Like, they thought it did, but it was more propaganda by a rival of his criticizing him of being too harsh in his punishments. And there was actually a political cartoon. It reads, he's carrying a bushel of sticks, and the cartoon said, thumbsticks for family correction, legal. I like political cartoons. Catch-22! The next one is Catch-22, which was the title of a book written by Joseph Heller in 1953, published in 1961, and properly titled Catch-22. Most people misspell it. The first chapter was actually printed in a magazine article in 1955, under the title Catch-18. Woo! Yeah. So the paradox in this is, most people assume Catch-22 means that you're kind of screwed either way, no matter what you do. And that's more or less true, but most people misapply it. What it meant specifically in the book was that in the Air Force bombers, if they were flying into battle, to drop bombs on other countries, they had a high likelihood of dying. So they were deemed crazy for doing that. My phone just went off. Sorry about that. If they went in, they were deemed crazy. But if they said, hey, I don't want to do that, then they were deemed sane, because no sane person would want to fly into possible or certain death. So it's Catch-22 because if they were insane for flying, they could ask simply to be grounded because of insanity. But if they did that, they proved they were sane, thus forcing them back to the fields to fly and die. So they were kind of screwed either way. It's more like a chicken and egg, heads I win, tails you lose, vicious circle, that whole type of thing. That's Catch-22. Boom! So those are some of the words and phrases that I found had some really cool and interesting facts about them and where their origins came from. But I'm posing one to you in a pop quiz. So here it is. Find out the origin of the word frank. Like, to be frank, I think blah blah blah, and you're blah, which really usually means that you're being an asshole. But I still want to know. So if you have any idea, just, you know, do the Googles and let me know. Not the Googles. Just, if you have any idea and you want to let me know, that'd be really cool, so just leave a comment or something and let's find out. Okay, Bye! I don't know what to do. Is that all? Yep. That's it.